two, one. Welcome to Chilltime with Jose. I'm your host today, Jose. And that was pretty quick, actually. We've got a bit to cover. Not probably too much this week, since it's just been Katowice on today and just a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 leagues, just to be honest. Been pretty, this is, the first story is pretty hectic, to be honest. It's one of those stories where we're thinking, okay, this is why you take these sort of actions seriously when people post this kind of crap. And we're going to get to the first one here, which if you guys aren't aware of, is that a fellow esports player, well, I'm not sure if a fellow, but it's a male CSGO, not CSGO, it's COD player, killed a Brazilian COD mobile player as well. So basically, this is an article from the esports server. There's a whole bunch of people with it. It's done by Victor Fratelli. It's kind of really, really sad, and this is why I don't take the that's why I don't take shit from the guys who threaten family members and stuff like that, and tweet and DM family players' families, not players' families, so players with that sort of stuff. Is because some psychopaths do actually act on their fucking stupidity and their motivations because they lost a bit of bob, or they their ego is hurt, and actually do something incredibly stupid, like for example killing this young lady for absolutely no fucking reason. And basically a loss of life overall. It's not pleasant to see. It's not a good thing to see in esports. And not to mention that some of these psychopaths be like, oh my god, look what I did, I'll share it to my mates, and the mates are just like, holy shit, you're a fucking moron. And this is why I ban those sorts of people who even make a comment. 2 seconds, guys, I gotta check something. Who make even a comment about threatening people, or leaving them hanging, or whatever they are, any sort of implication to a death threat. That's why I banned them from the channel. It's guys, if you're getting that psychopathic from fucking losing $2 or $5 on a fucking win-or-loss bet, then you need some fucking help from Gamblers Anonymous, because I don't want to see this sort of shit, like this article here. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see this sort of thing happening to fucking anyone. Okay? Personalities, even though I'm not that much of a personality, to be honest, have a lot more attentive shit to deal with, and then you put the death threats and stuff on top of it, and the doxing. Fucking hell, just get a fucking grip on yourselves, people. If you're acting like this and you're going in people's chats, threatening and stuff like that, and then bitching in my unban request that I banned you unfairly, take a look at this fucking story. It's just, you can go, oh, it's 1 out of 100. It's yeah, shouldn't be fucking happening though. You should have more fucking self-control. It's pretty obvious. Seriously, you lose a match, you'd be like, well, I lost that bet. I put that bet on. It is no one else's fault than mine. Who put the money into the Betway account? Me. Who put the bet on Avant or whatever team that lost one? You. Who was it? Whose fault is it? Was it the players? Or maybe Hazard was pretty sick. Hazard had the flu. He played the game because they couldn't reschedule for any other time. He had the flu. You're going to blame him for having the flu? No, you're the one who put the bet on. It's not their fault. And yeah, even though this isn't a sort of story that's about, betting go wrong and anything like that, it shares similar past where a guy's ego was hurt so much by this female beating him in a game that, he did some stupidity about it, okay? And also not to mention as well, a lot of females in the scene get a whole bunch of shit in addition to, what the male CSGO pros get. They get an additional serving, as per se. And it's not fun. It is literally not fun. And some people go, oh, it's a part of the code, blah, blah, blah. It always happens to everyone. Well, dude, we gotta stamp it out, because if these cunts get a free pass on what they have to do, they're gonna keep doing it. It gets progressively worse and worse until we actually take a stand to it, which may be too late for some people. But anyways, let's get back to some CSGO news. But thank you, I'm not gonna say thank you to Victor, even though Victor did make the article. It's a bit thank you for bringing up a sad story, that kind of thing. And it, seriously, it's not a good thing. And also, not to mention as well, there's a lot of guys non-stop bully women in the pug scene as well of CSGO. A lot of people go oh, there's no pro women because they're not good enough, blah blah blah. And it's at the same time, there's some people in the lower scenes who are like bullying him to an end, bullying him to a point where they just don't want to play the game anymore. And it's just like, well, that's why there's no pro females, because it basically is, why deal with like a whole bunch of 15-year-olds bullying you online when you could be just going out, earning a bit of bob on the side, being a checkout chick doing no effort and getting paid minimum wage, than dealing with 16-year-olds online 24/7. Like, it's fairly obvious which one you would choose, okay? Like if you're not that interested, you're gonna go, you're gonna jet. And I think people gotta realize that you can't shit on people too much, and then they'll leave, and it'll be like, oh, where's the scene gone? Oh, this X person killed the scene, and don't even look at your own fucking actions and what you did in the first place. Like some people are like, Pikachu surprise face about some of the things that have happened in the Australian scene. It's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you now, it probably happened for a lot of reasons. Like, it was maybe bound to happen. Next up, we're gonna talk about Peacemaker. Now, this is a really interesting statement that I've heard from Peacemaker. Like, I have no idea why people think Peacemaker ruins teams. Like, this is by Leo Blasi from HLTV. I have never known for Peacemaker to be a poor coach. Whoever, this must be a Reddit. Like, I'm going to say, you can probably replace this with Reddit thinks this, okay? Peacemaker's a good coach. Peacemaker's probably one of the most high integrity coaches there is, and one of the hearts on the sleeves, and the ones that will sit up and say, hey, man, stop fucking doing that. Man, look what he did to Forza. He said, guys, you're recording our demos for someone. Stop. What we're talking about, the first one, we were talking about the COD lady that was killed by another COD person, and now talking about Peacemaker. Now, this is a weird one, okay? So basically, Mad Lions let Peacemaker go. I have a feeling that this team's probably gonna die, even though it's got really good players in it now. I'm not sure what Mad Lions are trying to do. Like, I'm a bit confused. Like, really, really confused. It's like, you let go probably one of the better coaches. I'm not sure where Peacemaker's going to go. Peacemaker could go to any other coach position. Also, at the same time as well, it could be like Mad Lions couldn't keep Peacemaker at Mad Lions because Peacemaker probably got offered better job deals. Let's be honest as well. Like, given now how Mad Lions came to be, potentially in the end, Peacemaker could go elsewhere. So, that sort of thing. Like, when you do a good job at a certain thing, you have to go elsewhere. People thought we were memeing on Peacemaker being released from teams because he joins a new team every 3 months. Well, to be fair, like, this one is like, he's done good at Mad Lions, that he will potentially go to a bigger team. Now, yeah, like, I'm gonna say now, like, I was a bit surprised that he was gone. And yeah, it was like really, really weird in my opinion. Okay, like really, really weird that he's gone. I've got to say, like, I'm not sure why they picked Innocent. I know they basically picked Innocent. I'm going to say now they picked Innocent to fill a spot. I think this HLTV article says that as well. And yeah, so they try to get Lecro. So pretty much with Innocent. Yeah. So just an FYI with Innocent, like, they signed Innocent, and then I'm going to tell you now that signing was really, really poor from Mad Lions. And yeah, so Innocent said he was picked up to fill a spot. Yeah, Innocent even said the same thing. Like, he was picked up to fill a spot. And like, basically, Peacemaker saying the same thing. I wish all the best for him. Like, I wish all the best for him. He's done a good job. G'day, Free Letters and Benny Cage and B. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day, by the way. This is live on Twitch, if you guys are wondering. Yeah, I'm just sitting here being like, well, they signed him because, Exilian suggested it, given the fact they had nobody to really fill in after they lost Bobsky. I gotta say, this team was killed when Bobsky left, to be honest. Like, this team was like, this potential, the skill ceiling they had, was killed when Bobsky left. I'm gonna be honest with that. When Bobsky went to Astralis. And, as I said previously in the last week, that I'll be really, really angry if Astralis did that purely to target Mad Lions, to take Bobsky, and wasn't, like, actually gonna play him. Because that is a disgusting move, So you can watch the full of it at HLTV. So, I reckon Peacemaker might go to one, like, let's just say one of the teams lose a coach in a tier 1 and tier 2 scene. I reckon Peacemaker's probably going to one of those teams. That's my opinion about it, because Peacemaker, he's definitely a very good coach. He's a very, one of those coaches that you can view as a role model or a mentor kind of thing. Obviously, he's not perfect, he's not perfect as per se, but he has a certain coaching style, and it's meshed very, very well, given that Mad Lions had very, very good results. Unfortunately, they lost Acorn, now Bubsky, and like pretty much the team at the moment is pretty much Copenhagen Flames with Refresh in the team, essentially. Because like Mad Lions at the moment got Hooksy, Refresh, TMB, Roy, and Sush. Actually, Sush being from Tricked. And also as well, like it's basically a Danish lineup. There's basically Copenhagen Flames with TMB, Roy, and Hooksy both being in the original Flames lineup. Plus Refresh and Shush from Tricked. So like there's no actual star power here other than Refresh. Refresh being probably one of the best riflers I've seen in a while. And yeah, my opinion here is that this team's gonna be heavily reliant on Refresh until they can find that star factor in the AWP position or IGL position as well. So I was seeing a meme on the maps Bobsky only being played on was Cash, Cobblestone, Nuke, 8, and then a Surf map. That was actually pretty funny. Next up is gonna be Envy. Basically, well, I think this is pretty obvious at this moment that Envy's players are going to be uncontracted. It's pretty obvious that Envy were trying to get money for the players that they bought. I'm just going to be real with you. Envy were never going to get any money for the players that they bought. Like, no one's going to purchase that team. I think everyone's waiting for the contracts to expire. And given the fact that Envy, like, literally blew so much money on a team, like, something's wrong with Envy itself, or, like, what happened there, because you got a team of Thomas, Mihu, like basically two great playmakers, Calix, another great playmaker in Turkey, and you got Nifty and a few others as well. And you're telling me that team cannot perform? That team can't get any first place in NA? Arguably probably one of the easiest scenes to get into and not get anywhere near in Flashpoint either. Like, you telling me that? Like, all I'm going to say is that, like, something was desperately wrong with Envy, and it'll probably come out in about a year or so, or a year or two, that what was wrong there, and what was going on behind the scenes. And given, like, I think it was Fugly's tweet longer about I think it was Nifty, I think it's going to be central around him, to be honest. And I think, to be completely honest, for Envy, the fact of building a team around him doesn't bode well for me. I think if you want to build a team around like a good player, that's a good model player that does get a lot of frags and does put a lot of points in the server, it would have been Mihu or Calix. Mihu, Calix, or Thomas being the first choice. Thomas probably being, I think Mihu being the first choice and Thomas being the second. Main reason for Thomas being the second is that Thomas has been around a lot of teams and filled in for teams as well to strive for that success in CSGO. Remember when I think Thomas, who did he play for in DreamHack Winter? Like in DreamHack Winter, Thomas filled in for a team. I'm trying to think who it was. Like Thomas filled in for a team. It wasn't Endpoint. It was another team, like completely different. And Thomas filled in for that team at DreamHack. Like Thomas, like literally looked for every single opportunity to get into games and stuff like that. And as I said there, I'm feeling the main problem's Nifty. Given Fugly's tweet longer, like I'm thinking it could be around Nifty, as I said before, because Fugly said the same thing. A few of the other players said the same thing before they got this international lineup. Now, all I'm going to say is, like, this team shouldn't have failed on paper. Shouldn't have failed. And I think if they got a decent IGL, any IGL, to be honest, like any NA IGL in general, this team would have been a huge success, because you got Mihu and Thomas there, two of the beautifulest, or not AWPers, riflers, and they're incredible. And also Calix has left as well. It sucks for both Thomas, Mihu, and Calix, who are quite young, and they're hitting their prime, that effectively they've maybe wasted 3 or 4 months, or maybe 6 months of their career being with Envy. And all I'm going to say of Envy is that, guys, you got to pay attention to your team management. You can't, like, what I'm going to say is, like, with the franchising leagues, they've been giving the easy ticket. And I think with the franchising, I've already commented on my comments about franchising. It's going to be the future, because team or esport orgs want an easy path. But what's going to happen in the end with all these franchise leagues, if it gets to CSGO and it gets to all those other esports, is that there's going to be no more new orgs. Okay, like you're gonna be stuck with these 12 to 16 orgs, or maybe 20 orgs that specialize in getting their spot for the entirety of the esports industry. And then it's going to get smaller and smaller as the other smaller esports orgs that don't have their hands in every single pie get essentially shafted. And that's probably what's going to happen to the scene. And then everyone will be like, oh, where's these tier 2 orgs? Or esports is a bit boring now since it's the same 14, 16 teams again. That's what makes CSGO more exciting and more better than the other things, because we don't have this franchising bullshit. Because like look at League, for example. League's heavily successful. Like, they're only successful franchising league, and they have ways to get in there, but like realistically, if you're looking at it, it's pretty dry on it. That's my opinion about franchising. I just don't like it because it basically kills the competition. Even though, of course, there's the memes and stuff like that. Well, I know that Thomas stood in for Endpoint during EU Championship Winter. Okay, maybe that was it. But yeah, I know Thomas sat in for another team as well because they couldn't get their fifth for some reason. G'day, Script. Hope you're having a good day, my dude. But that's my opinion about franchising. Not a big fan of it. I feel like it just like kills the tier 2 scene most of the time. Like Overwatch, for example, is one reason, but Overwatch, Blizzard and esports, oh god. League of Legends tier 2 scene is all right, but it's just realistically just getting to the tier 1 scene for League. Every other scene is not really ideal. I'm not sure if Dota has the same thing. Maybe, actually, I think Dota has Dream League, which is basically the same thing. CSGO has a semi-franchise, semi-not franchise with ESL Pro League, given that there's partner teams in there. And of course, you know how I feel about some of those partner teams. I mean, ENTS in particular. And yeah, basically, that's what I love about CSGO is the non-franchising. But it's kind of the future of what's going to happen, is that the orgs are going to be able to put the pressure onto the TOs and be like, well, we're going to go elsewhere and make our own league if you don't, go and, submit to our demands. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like just the same teams playing over and over again. And honestly, like, it will probably happen. So you won't get your team spirits that come out of nowhere. You won't get your Forzays that come out of nowhere. You won't get your, what other teams come over? You won't get your tricked esports coming out of nowhere. They'll just be stopped by a giant wall, okay? Like, a lot of these orgs talk about competition and stuff like that, like having good competition and good rivalry and always being on point. Like, they put that hat on saying that, and then they take it off when talking about franchising, okay? Like, that's what I'm talking about, okay? Like, they put on the hat of, we're competitors and stuff like that. And the moment it comes to team management, it is fucking off franchising. Like, there's like, franchise. We want to have a spot secure. We can't possibly lose it, okay? Because they don't care about competition. That's what happens when you're at the top. You want to kill the competition and make sure your spot's always there. People do that all the time, like, that kind of thing, because they're scared of losing their spot. It becomes, instead of attaining the spot, it becomes preserving the spot and becomes something else altogether. So Tiger, another Asian team. So Mongolian squad, obviously, from Mongolia. Asia, obviously, the region, not the, not anything racial and contextual, obviously. Another one has part ways of their team, being PaperX being the other one, and then PaperX announced a Valorant squad right afterwards, which was, I'm going to say, pretty obvious that they're going to announce a Valorant squad. So yeah, so pretty much like with this team, it's just like, well, happens again. Tiger's probably going to make a Valorant team as well. Wouldn't be surprised. And the Asian CSGO scene is pretty much dead. I believe in the Asian Open playoffs, there's only like 8 eligible teams. So I'm pretty sure that ESA Asia will probably close its shop. Or, yeah, most likely close its shop. I think all of Asia's going to be in Valorant. I think it's just obviously typical because, like, Tencent operates in China, so, and the mid-Asian area, so pretty much they're going to get everyone playing it very, very quickly over CSGO. I know CSGO CSGO did get a foothold in Asia for quite a bit, but I think that's going to be by the wayside of a lot of Asian guilds, or not Asian guilds, Asian teams pulling out as well. So I think I'm going to say the Asian scene is probably going to die in CSGO. And there's like 2 scenes that have already been taken out by Valorant because, I'm going to say franchising, okay? They're hoping that Riot's going to franchise a league and hopefully they can afford a spot. Compared to CSGO, where the money's not guaranteed unless they work for it. That kind of thing. And you can see what I'm talking about when I'm saying they put on the hat about competitiveness, then they take it off. And orcs are free to come at me when I say that, but it rings really true. Like, it's not like I'm not lying. Okay. Next up, we got a DreamHack Open invites. By the way, guys, I am casting the closed qualifier lower bracket final, which will be on tomorrow at 10 a.m. my time, and I believe it's on at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be between, I believe, let's get the closed qualifiers here, if I can find it. No, the closed qualifiers aren't here. Where are they? You know what? Just going to go into the results. We cast in the closed qualifiers, and it'll be the finals. And it'll either be between it'll be between Mythic or Recon 5 or Third Impact or Secret Club. Okay, we'll be casting this lower bracket final. I won't be casting this final. This final will be on a different day. And I tried to get the upper bracket final, but someone was already on for it. So I'm assuming that's going to be talent. Like, generally what they do is they put the talent on for the upper bracket and consolidation final. And that's about it. So I'll be on the lower bracket final tomorrow at 9 p.m. Already know who's on these, okay? Like, I'm a sneaky person, so I know who's already on these areas because I got the spreadsheet. And I got a hint, someone in chat is on one of those lower bracket matches. Because I know. But anyways, someone in chat starts with a B, ends with an E. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Actually, I gotta check which match would you be casting. I gotta check the spreadsheet, okay? Which match would you? Nah, I'm just kidding, by the way, guys. I think Benny Cage knows. Oh no, you don't get it. Oh, dude. Oh well, you can have a good game anyways with Secret Club and Third Impact. Make sure you put your name on that, okay? I thought you had Recon 5 and Mythic, okay? I thought you had Recon 5 and Mythic. That would be a good game. I unfortunately can't cast that at all. But either way, as you can see here, like, in the end, let's go through the invites. Liquid, I gotta say to you guys now, this is expected. I'll probably say Rebirth is probably the odd team out here. But, like, literally everyone else is what I expect. Like, Liquid, Bad News Bears, Pain, High Coast, Triumph, teams I expect. Rebirth, I feel, could be replaced by Extra Salt, because Extra Salt's probably, you know, probably a slightly better team. But at the end of the day, you're picking a coin flip between Rebirth and Extra Salt. So I'm not saying that it's a bad choice. I'm just saying, like, hey, like, you know, maybe I would have put Extra Salt in there instead of Rebirth. But at the end of the day, you know, both teams are kind of similar level. I reckon Extra Salt will do a bit better, though. That's my opinion, okay? Next up, we got South America being Sharks and Imperial, kind of expected. And in the Southeast Asian region, not Southeast Asia, South America, 2 qualifiers from closed, 2 qualify from closed as well. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I reckon Extra Salt, we can take the first spot. I'm not sure about the second spot. The second spot, I'm going to say, is going to be between Recon 5 Mythic and Secret Club. Okay, and what is it, RBG. It's going to be between those 4 teams, and it's going to be a tough one, indeed. Now, next up, we're going to go through IM Katowice, and we've got Spirit defeat Australia. This is probably the biggest upset that has ever happened. Spirit defeating Australis to top Group A. And it's not even the scoreline. It was basically Dust 2, okay? So I go down the scoreline down here, and Dust 2 ended up 16-1 to Spirit, okay? I think Spirit even lost their map pick as well. Like, Spirit lost their map pick of Inferno and beat Australis and Train and Dust 2. I believe it was a reverse sweep. Because Spirit would pick first. Well, yeah, I was going to say, Spirit lost their map pick and won Australis' map pick. So that's like, you know, it's not even the fact they lost Inferno. It's the fact they won Australis and that pick of Train and then dusted off Australis 16-1. And as I said a while ago, I think I said about 3 or 4 months ago, that CIS would be the next region to boom. Okay, then the region to boom after that would be the Polish region. Okay? You can see now 4 CIS teams in the playoffs of Katowice. How did they 16-1 Australis on Dust 2? Perfect fucking CT side. 15-0 on CT. Okay? 15 fucking nothing on CT. How they do it? Dexter is a very good addition as the AWP, and they've got godly aimers. They did this shit to Big as well. They dusted Big, I think it was 11-4 on the CT side of Mirage. And they were out-aiming Zentares, Tabson, Tizian. You know, the only battle Big were winning was against Disbalance with Sirison, and that's it. And now they got a good AWP. They got a better AWP being Dexter, and Like, they got Mia. Mia is incredible. Like, Mia is an absolute god at aiming, okay? Then you got Magix. He's a young star. He's about, I think he's 16 or 17 now. He's amazing. Like, the stuff he does and the flicks he does is insane. And then you got Chopper. Chopper's the IGL. Chopper's like the old guy. He knows, like, he's got the experience. And not actually, sorry, I think Sundar Young is the leader, but Chopper's the veteran on the team that's got a lot of experience and can mentor a lot of these players as well. And you got Sundar Young as well. He's incredible as well. He's another incredible player as well. Like, this lineup, I gotta say, Disbalance was probably a good player to replace, but Disbalance wasn't a bad AWPer himself, okay? It was just inconsistent. Disbalance was a good AWPer, okay? Like, a really, really good AWPer. It's just like the CS region's competition for AWPing is like literally up here. Like, it is ridiculous because there are so many good AWPers in the CIS region. It is crazy. Okay, absolutely crazy. Now, next up, we go Gambit v G2. Gambit wants 2-0 against G2. And, like, Shiro, once again, like, seriously, like, they can't stop the man, okay? If you don't have an answer to Shiro... Mia went from disappearing from CS after Gambit to being in a top one of best CS teams. Yeah, I remember his profile picture on, like, he came back to Gambit. Yeah, I think it was not Gambit Youngsters, actually, or was it his first game for Spirit? He still had him with his arms like this in his Gambit jersey while I was playing for Spirit. It was pretty funny. I was like going, when is he going to change that profile picture? Because he's in Team Spirit now. But anyway, we got Gambit Youngsters here, Gambit. And I gotta say, like, you know, I said in advance, you give these guys 2 years together, and they'll become they'll be a team to be reckoned with. Unfortunately, Supra can't be in this lineup, but somehow Hobbit is just fit right in. Like, it's been the most weirdest roster move where Supra, your second best player, is replaced by Hobbit, and you're thinking, oh boy, like, this is a bad idea. It's Hobbit's like over the hill. I'm not sure if you're gonna get much out of him. Like, you know, a lot of people are thinking like they're like, why are they replacing Supra for? But in the end, like, you know, Hobbit, like, you know, 26. So it's not over the hill yet, but he's in his prime form. Hobbit, 26. But you like think like, oh, Hobbit, like, you know, maybe, you know, Super has got a higher potential and stuff like that. And it's like Hobbit has exploded under this lineup. Like, this lineup's insane. And Nafani, he's the IGL. If you guys aren't aware of this, Nafani is the in-game leader. So you can tell by his stats, he's not the biggest fragger of IGL, but, you know, he's the IGL. Now, like, look at G2. Now, this is the opposite end. G2. They picked up Nico and they've just gone, meow. So it's pretty obvious what's happening here. But to be fair, though, is that Gambit, I'm going to say Gambit's probably more of a better team than G2. I was going to say, if I was doing this analysis for the series, I was going to say Gambit were going to win 2-1 or 2-0. I wasn't going to say G2 was going to win because at the end of the day, before even they picked up Nico, they were going down on a downward spiral. Like, they didn't have the firepower to match Gambit, to be honest. Like, the AWPer, Kenny S, he's going to be outdone by Shiro because Shiro's like got his experience and he's a much younger, quicker reaction, and, you know, it was like when Adren made that major final with a Vanguard. Yeah, talking about Vanguard, Adren was probably like gone as well. Like, at the end of the day, I think Adren, when they picked up, you know, Yakinda in the end, I think Adren did help a lot of those players out in the current Virtus Pro roster, coming from a Vanguard, of course. I think he helped a lot of that roster out. Like, even though Adren's fragging potential was absolute bad, like it was Garbo, it was pretty garbage, and I think he probably knew that as well. I think he mentored a lot of those players in the current Virtus Pro roster, and that's why they're getting to that level now, is because Adren's like, okay, like, you know, he's probably like coaching that team, pseudo-coaching that team, you know, and developing their skills. You know, thinking at the end of the day, you wouldn't think to get into a major final, you know. So a lot of those players, like, you know, probably have, you know, had some guidance from Adren, given the fact that Adren has been in the scene for a very long time. I'm talking about the CIS Adren, obviously not the American Adren, who's playing for Mythic, I believe. And overall, I'm going to say here, like, you know, G2 is going down a bit. I'm just going to say, I don't think G2 were expected to win this game. If anyone said G2 should win this game against Gambit, I think they really should have taken a look at Shiro a lot longer and actually review Gambit footage. Because Gambit, in the form they're in, on paper, they should be beating G2. Okay, and they did beat G2. They beat them 2-0. And I'll be real, like, you know, that's my opinion, okay? That's my opinion. Is that I would have, like, you know, gone, like, you know, yeah, Gambit's going to win. Next up, we talk about Both Edren have been around for the longest time. Yeah, of course, I know. That's why I said, Edren's been a long round time in the scene, and I'm talking about the CIS one because I know the NA one's been in a long time as well. Like he coached Liquid, for example. Like both of them have been around, so I'm trying to make sure I pick the right one. You know that? Okay, probably got kicked. To be fair though, like a lot of those players in like Ninja-esque and stuff like that, they'll probably get replaced and pick up another player. Like a lot of the AU scene can easily be replaceable, with a few players, or it could be a dead team. Nico ruining teams, there it could be. I don't think Nico ruined the team. I think Nico was a good choice for G2 to pick up, but I don't think it's Nico's fault. I feel like G2, like there's other players in that lineup that are not firing either. Like I'm not gonna go for the token blame Nico for everything, okay? Because like sometimes the problems are there before Nico even gets there, if you get what I mean. Like I think in that kind of thing, I don't think it's 100. You can't 100% pin on Nico. I think a few players there are underperforming, and sometimes you just got to go back to the workshop, go back to the lab, and just get back into it again. So next up we got Na'Vi v Liquid. Liquid beat Na'Vi 2-1, and Na'Vi did the thing where they switched a few players in and out. Actually, I think for the last map, Bit was put in. I think Bit's the coach. Bit interesting. But yeah, I think he switched out for Flamey on the last map. But either way, Team Liquid won 2-1. In the end, I think Elige got a bit of a boost for outing those guys in the NA scene. He got a bit of a 10-kill boost. Elige performing pretty well. I gotta say, they've given IGL leadership to Fallen, and still he can focus on his gameplay now. I gotta say, the Team Liquid roster is a very, very good NA roster with, Grim, Naf, Stewie, Elige, and Fallen. These riflers, I gotta say, they're very, very good, okay? Grim is incredible as well. It's a bit unhappy to see that Grim's got a negative 20 there, but he got a good solid ADR as well. Simple, basically it was a very even game, actually. Like, look at the ADRs. Na'Vi had a higher ADR than Liquid, despite losing the series. Next up, we're going to go to my favorite team, being Virtus Pro, taking down Furia. I've got to say, exceptionally close game, 16-14, 16-10. Yakinda, that's what you got to say. That team, like the moment where they dropped Adren and picked up Yakinda from Prosto, is the moment that this team exploded and became a top 5 team. Like they traded in some experience for a absolute god at aiming, okay? And that's why they're here. And they've got Jane to back it up as well. Like once you got a good rifler, the AWP can start performing as well. And they've also got Buster and Keycode, who are very, very good at, playing off each other. Like Buster and Keycode are probably, very, very good duo as well. And I've got to say, Sanji playing as support, Sanji has played exceptionally well as support. Like, his Deagle's kind of scary. Like, his Deagle's actually so scary now that, like, teams that just go into it, like, he can potentially win a deco. Because I think Sanji do, like, 2-1 Deags very quickly, get some weapons for his team and turn it around on its head. Now, a bit disappointing for him, also, yeah, of course, Prosto essentially died when Yakinda was traded because that was essentially their entire team. Then we got Quesarada, Yuri, Vinny, Art, and Junior. Junior didn't have exactly the greatest of games. Quesarada had a Goldly game again, like Goldly series. But at the end of the day, Fury can't be too unhappy given the fact that Virtus Pro is probably listed as the top 5 team. And like, even though it's a 2-0 loss, it was a pretty close 2-0 loss. I mean, 16-14, 16-10. Takes a few rounds either way, and you essentially have got it all secured and wrapped up. Next up, we go to talk about the AU CSGO scene. So here's the ECA Premier at the moment for CSGO. And it's a bit of a, I'm just going to be real with you guys. It's a bit of a issue, okay? Because in the AU CSGO scene, there's a lot of teams that are going to be dead, especially in Group B. Basically, the only alive teams in Group B at the moment are the top 4, okay? These 2 teams are dead because of ESIC bans, because they have ESIC banned players, and if they try to pick any other players, they'll lose their spot. So these guys are pretty much dead. And Mako disbanded, as the players didn't have enough time anymore. Animal Squad, I think they still exist somewhat. And Muneo have forfeited twice, and it's probably going to be likely that, that one of these teams will probably fall apart. Like, according to Fiend, who I talked about in the ESA Premier Cast, he said at least 3 of these teams in Group B are dead, and that they're going to make the playoffs by essentially default, okay? Like, because they're currently 3-1. And, yeah, like, I do agree with him. Like, a lot of these teams are dead in Group B. Sorry, and let me... BBR couldn't get an offer. BBR was actually on a team. And the thing is, BBR could probably get a better offer in Valorant, as I said before, about BB. is that she could probably get more of an offer in Valorant than in CSGO. Okay? I'm going to be completely honest. Animal Squad is a squad of boomers, no offense. To be fair, like, I'm going to say, like, you know, Animal Squad is just a guys who just want to play some ESA Premier on the side. Now, you go to Group A. Group A is a bit more alive. I'm actually really impressed with Silix and Dynasty. They've been playing exceptionally well with their 3-2 and 3-1. And they actually might make playoffs in the end. Now, Order is expected to make playoffs, and unfortunately, one of these teams that come fourth have to play against Order, which is going to be torture, in my opinion, because Order are going to decimate them. I feel like Group B is really, really stacked, and anyone who's second, third, and fourth in Group A are going to have some serious problems, because they're going to be versing some pretty good teams, okay? I mean, like, you know, Silix against, let's say, Riot, probably like, Dynasty versus Paradox, that's going to get slapped around. Silix v Riot's probably fair. Vertex v Direwolves, like, a lot of these teams are going to get absolutely shanked early on, like in the Group A. In Group A, I think it's only Really Weird that's dead, as far as I know. I'm not totally too sure. Actually, no, Really Weird did play a few games, but other games they did not show up. So yeah, with the AU CSGO scene overall, we'll just go through the last thing as well. If you want to know why Dire Wolves is now Avant, is that Dire Wolves acquired Avant, and Giles, it was pretty obvious what was happening, because when I saw Giles write a tweet longer of how he's leaving Avant, and I'm sitting here being like, they're either getting bought out or Avant is like bankrupt, okay? Because it's like Giles would never leave that esports team, considering how much he loves it. Like every single game of Avant, he was here watching the game and in chat with like a lot of the Avant people. I don't think that esports club was going anywhere unless it was bankruptcy or being bought out. So yeah, so basically Direwolves purchased Avant. They purchased their CSGO team as well. And yeah, basically Avant Gaming follows on from the Falcons purchase of NA Esports and Sydney Drop Bear. So that's Overwatch League and FIFA, I believe. Now, this is an issue for the CSGO scene in Australia. There's a bit of an issue going on at the moment. As you guys may be obviously able to tell, I should actually took the chat off in the meantime. But I did make a video about this, about the CSGO scene in Australia, and of course it's been slapped around by ESIC, understandably so. And everyone's been working on it. Like, everyone's been working on the ESIC end and stuff like that. There's also being, like, you know, a lot of dead teams in ESA Premier, which is probably the most in quite a few seasons, actually. Usually we have 1 or 2 dead teams. Now we have about 4 or 5, which is not exactly ideal. And, like, I think a lot of these players don't realize the chance they've been given. But at the same time, some of these players realize the chance they've been given, and they just don't think it's worth it in the end. Because they see all these other players who've played CSGO for like Ground Zero and stuff like that, and they've gone to Valorant and got bigger contracts because they're thinking Valorant will build a bigger league in Australia. Now, I have no idea about Sensu, to be honest. I think he joined the Surgeons team and got banned. I'm not totally too sure. But like what I'm saying here is that even it's affecting the caster stuff as well. Like, basically all the casters I know of who used to do ECA Premier have now gone off and done Valorant or only doing paid gigs in CSGO. Like, doing LPL and stuff like that. I can't do LPL because LPL starts at 4 p.m. my time, and I can't get home for 4 p.m. my time. My work won't allow it. And that's what's happened. Like, a lot of the casters, like, you know, Komodo, 2Tap, Quick Draw. There's also other reasons why they've left over as well. Conky to some extent, and that's probably because of what happened with Komodo. Like, Komodo did mention he didn't like the delay that much. And I think it's like really only Josh and maybe a few others here and there that are realistically casting games in the ESA CSGO region at the moment. Now, main reason for that is I can understand with like Komodo and Conky and a few others, like the complaints about delays. Yes, I can understand that you can't talk to chat during the delays. Like, it's naturally possible, and it's pretty annoying when you're solo casting that you're kind of in a room by yourself and the chat just comes up here and there and you just respond to it as it is. And also, not to mention, they can go to another esport, take up a paid job, and still talk to chat at the same time if they want to, that is. And also have a co-caster beside them as well if they want to. Could give room for more rookie casters to rise up. I'm going to say with the AU scene, given that that when I've said and mentioned that we need more AU casters, none have been given a chance. Like, they haven't recruited any drive yet for ESEA. I might just poke Jackson, like Wolf, just in case he does Jacko, just in case, it's not Wolf, sorry, not Jackson, Wolf, El Jacko, to see if that's the case. But, like, I've only seen a very few AU casters want to take the job at it. I've seen one person complain about it, which I understand 100%. They have full rights to, because I've been trying to get a lot of these casters onto games. I remember the DreamHack closed qualifier where they barely told the AU scene for casters other than me, because I'm actively looking at it. And I felt really bad because I didn't retweet it, because I was like, oh, everyone should have mod added for DreamHack, stuff like that. And I realized none of the AU guys have ever heard of, mod in the first place. And I was trying to get those guys in so we can have some games casted. Now with the rookie casters, I'll probably see, like, there's realistically 2 or 3 people that could cast some ESA Premier. But we'll see. Like, I think if ESEA want to keep the AU scene going, because probably been this worst season for it, they'll probably look at, fielder caster roles in and stuff like that. I tried to become a caster going to LPL, but not ESEA. LPL is very easy to get into for the lower leagues, but for like for the other leagues, like the leagues that get casted on their channel, it's very difficult. ESEA Premier is harder to get into. Basically, like LPL, not Challenger, but it's Premier one. It's harder to get into than it's harder to get into. It's kind of like ESA Premier. But anything below ESA Premier, like ESA Open, stuff like that, it's just easy. You can cast open games whenever you want. So I think you gotta be careful when casting LPL, like comparing LPL to ESEA, because it's not comparing apples to oranges. It's kind of the same setup, to be completely honest. You probably could talk to El Jacko if you want to get into ESA Premier. Talk to El Jacko, Jackson Wolf. He's probably one of the most dedicated people I've seen in ESEA. Like, that guy promoted a lot of my Instagram posts, a lot of my Twitter posts for the games I was casting in the ESA Mount Dew League, back when it was called the Mount Dew League. Now it's being Premier. He was promoting a lot of the casts that I had, like basically retweeting it, liking it, promoting and stuff like that, which is quite incredible, Overall, like, I do want new casters coming in. The only thing I'm really, really upset about is not being able to cast EU. Like, that really upsets me, because I like the EU scene as well. Theoretically, you could watch a delayed feed on the Go TV and people still chat with people. Yes, that's what people are trying to do. Like, that's the solution that's been suggested, okay? Like, that's what they did at the start. I would say talk to Jackson Wolf. I think you can find him, actually. 2 seconds. Let me get Jacko's thing for you, okay? There we go. His DMs are open. But this guy, he's the production manager, okay? You probably know him already because he posts a lot. But yeah, like, the problem is you can't have a delayed Go TV feed. Like, well, no, you can. We're trying to suggest that as the solution, because, like, that's what we said. Like, we all said, like, delay Go TV. If you can delay Go TV, it'd be much better than what we've got now, okay? Like, I did mention as well that it's not Talent's fault that teams started stream sniping to broadcast stream, okay? That's my opinion. It's not casters' fault that the teams have cheated on the broadcast, and the casters should not be punished for that. I miss Mac, Elvish, and Pilsky. Pilsky's been casting on the NA and EU ESEA matches, as far as I know, or not hosting, not casting. Elvish and Mac have been doing League, because they've released a new League thing as well. Now, with the other points with the scene as well, is that, Valorant's come into the scene. Obviously, more paid casting gigs there. I mean, Komodo's gone over there as well. Conky's probably gone over there as well. Matsy, Toe Tap Tony, Quick Draw have all gone to the AU Valorant scene. How do you stop sneeze trapping in Oz? To be honest, I don't think it occurs in Oz. It's just mainly EU and NA. That's the thing. Like, basically, a lot of these casters have gone to the Valorant scene, potentially for opportunities for paid casting, essentially. Like, getting paid to cast matches. As I said in my video, we don't get paid to cast in ESA Premier. I don't get paid anything to cast. I have a full-time job that essentially funds everything I do. So basically, any subscription and any donations I get is literally put back into the stream, getting gear, getting a 3070 as well, and stuff like that. Like, honestly, like, as I say, I don't need money. I do need money. Like, it's a business. Like, me streaming, spending hours, not hours of my time, but minutes of my... Yeah, maybe hours of my time, okay? I stream a lot, actually. Hours of my time and getting no, like, return. I know I'm not entitled to a wage, obviously, because if I'm not entertaining and if I'm an arsehole and just a dickhead and streaming like boring shit 24/7, then I shouldn't be getting paid. But I want to make it into, you know, something like, you know, a service I give to people and they enjoy it that much that they pay to me. It's the entertainment industry in a nutshell. But, you know, that sort of thing. But that's what happens in ESA Premier, is that we don't get paid for it. We're all community casters. I guess, you know, people enjoy the donations and the attention. I'm not sure what people do the casting for. I just do the casting to make sure all games are casted, okay? Like, you see me, like, after one of my BO3s finish, just do a quick interview, then get to the next game and see, you know, how much I can cast of it. Like, I know I don't cast all of it, but, you know, at least we get the last, maybe last map, you know, last probably 10 rounds at least some of the games casted. And that's what I try to aim for at ESA Premier. Like, if one game's done, get onto another game right away. If this game's done, get onto another game and try that. And that's what I've been doing in the ESA Premier scene. Now, a lot of people, you know, paid gigs. You know, some of these people in the AU scene are not lucky like me, okay? They're not lucky to have a full-time job. Maybe they have a part-time job. Maybe they're still at uni and they need a bit of pocket money. So the paid casting gigs, you know, getting the extra $15, $20, maybe $30 or $40 AUD a game, a BO3 or BO2. It's like, you know, hey, you know, I'll go do that. I can get Maccas or whatever for dinner or whatever. I could just use that money to pay my fuel and stuff like that, because uni students are fucking poor, by the way. Trust me. I've experienced it, okay? When you actually use the dollar meters on the petrol thing to only feel like a $10 of fuel or $20 of fuel, that's when you know you're a uni student, okay? But, like, you know, those things like that, like, you know, money is also an issue too. So it's been, you know, I've talked about the delay, I've talked about the money, people going to Valorant and stuff like that. Do you think ESA will pay casting CSGO sometime soon? Doubt it. Doubt it. Unless push comes to shove, okay? And I reckon, like, if the casters start saying, hey, I want to be paid for doing this, they might pay, or they might just be like, nah, we'll just get other people in. That's what the casting industry is like this at the moment, is basically they're trying to unionize, like there is a mini union per se, by making sure the rates are the same and no one's undercutting each other. But realistically, some people don't join it and just undercut people. Like it was pretty ruthless. It was pretty rife in the NA scene quite a while ago, but that's all been settled now, thank God, where they've actually come to agreement where they were just basically undercutting each other non-stop. I have no idea if it occurs in the AU scene. Like, no idea. I don't think it would, to be honest, because I think a lot of the casters know each other, so kind of, you know, a bond this sort of way. But yeah, like, you know, some casters are just serial undercuts, okay? And it's not anyone, like, you know, it's got a lot better due to Strummers, I believe, who set up the Casters Collective. It's got a lot better where everyone knows who's being paid and what and stuff like that. So, yeah. Oh, I've already talked about the eSIC and Valve ban. I'm a bit PO'd about that. But, like, overall, the Australian scene at the moment, it's like there's a bit of lack of commitment from players, given that players have also seen the Valorant beacon. Like, a lot of CSGO players who played for, like, Ground Zero, Paradox, and a few other teams, and Justice, like Panic, for example, has gone over to Valorant. There's been Clutchy gone over to Valorant, Crunchy gone to Valorant. And, like, a lot of these players that used to play CSGO have gone over to Valorant because they join an org and get paid big bucks because they're hoping and praying that Riot will actually set up an exclusive league in Oceania. Okay, like, it's a lot of these orgs are purely in Valorant because of the fact that they're hoping that Riot sets up a league and that they will get, you know, a token payment and there'll always be a chance for prize money. Okay, that's why Valorant's got the better thing, is because the franchising system. And what's going to happen is, well, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to know that Riot do not really care about Oceania. Really doesn't. I mean, they shut down the office. I mean, they told Oceania, if you want to move over, you go to America instead. And still a better opportunity in CSGO in AU. If you think about that one, okay? To be fair though, like it's a example of most of these games in esports in AU is that Australia and Oceania get practically ignored by everyone. But yeah, it's just Valorant's the better scene apparently. To be fair, I think CSGO is probably the better scene. Like, but the problem is, like, all the orgs are in Valorant. I mean, you see teams like top tier teams like Legacy and stuff like that all in Valorant, but won't put a team in CSGO. It's obviously a top-down decision on why they're not in there. It seems like it. It probably is. Wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, like you'll see, like, Ground Zero's got a Valorant team, don't have a CSGO team anymore because that fell apart. And that's because, like, gotta be honest, Ground Zero didn't really pay much attention to the CSGO team, I feel. It kind of reminds me of Cloud9 when they're effectively just band-aiding the wounds. They weren't actually thinking of managing the team, so just band-aiding it. And it wouldn't be surprised, like, a few of those players in there just go to Valorant. I wouldn't be surprised if... Oh, actually, ESIC mirrored the bans in the end, actually. I think LPL mirrored the bans, so people who banned by ESIC can't play Valorant either. But I wouldn't be surprised if, Riot's like, oh, yeah, players who banned by ESIC and CSGO, you can come to Valorant. Wouldn't be surprised and act like the good guys in this. I think the Valorant salaries are inflated. Yeah, they are. They're absolutely inflated because the orgs want to get tickets to the game. Okay. That's why it says it's like the Overwatch League. They knew it was going to be franchised. All orgs are going to be like paying players ridiculous salaries to get in there. And the orgs are hoping, please give us a slot. Please give us a slot. What's happening? This is exactly what's happening. And in order to like keep the scene going, like everyone's trying to organize a tournament. I mean, like look at Trovo and all these other tournaments, like Pulse Arena, example, like all these other little esports orgs, Nerd Street Gamers, for example, as well, organizing all these tournaments for Valorant because they know it's the trend at the moment. And also, that's what it is. And even LPL's got a tournament as well for Valorant. I wonder if the ESCA will actually make a tournament for Valorant. Will be like a league system for Valorant. I'm not too sure. I wonder what ESL think about that, because ESL haven't really acted towards Valorant. I'm sad for Rooster Control and formerly Ground Zero. No, Ground Zero were dead regardless. Like, Ground Zero weren't dead because of ESIC. They were dead because of whatever it is. But is it ESCA, CSGO only? Well, you can obviously expand the system to be outside of CSGO. It's not entirely impossible. But yeah, like that's what I feel is happening. And I don't mean it personally to any of the casters that have jumped over to Valorant. They're allowed to jump over to any game they fucking want. They're allowed to jump over it because Valorant's giving a good opportunity. Dude, if it's the game that you feel really, really passionate about and that you really feel good about and you enjoy casting it and you enjoy watching it, go down there. Enjoy it. Isn't it run by CSGO players? No. ESA also does Team Fortress 2. Like, it does Team Fortress 2, does a lot of other tournaments. It can do Valorant. It's pretty easy. It's just ESL and Riot don't exactly have the greatest of friendships. Even though the Oceanic League is run by ESL. TF2 is not big anymore. Like, Valve have been pretty poor on paying attention to their games. And if Valve, like, I'm not sure why Valve don't pay attention to esports other than Dota 2. But yeah. At the end of the day, like with the AU CSGO scene, it basically depends on how Valorant ends up in the AU scene. Been streaming for 15 hours, jeez, B. And you got 33 hours to go. You're crazy. But anyways, that's like with the AU scene, like pretty much the issue has been delays, players not committing, because obviously you can't have a cast without players. Obviously, you can't have a tournament without players either. Valorant would be different? Not really. Not really. Like, with Valorant, it wouldn't be different at all. Dude, you can, like, with the systems of ESEA, you can probably code that in very easily. Like, you got the guy who coded how to look, with GoTV, how to find any time the coach has been cheating. You have a guy who coded that, Steven Dudoffer. He's employed by ESEA. He can easily probably put up a code to get Valorant all linked in with the API. That's if Riot will give it to ESEA. It's not the issue whether they can build a system for ESEA. ESEA can absolutely build that system. It's whether Riot will give them access to the API. Like, that's the main difference. Or I'm not sure if they operate on CSGO's API, but like, will Riot give the resources to ESL to run that system? That's what I'm talking about, okay? But I don't think they will, because Riot want to have full and utter control of their esports. Other than AU, of course. AU says AS League of Legends. Because it's under ESL control at the moment. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's doable. It's doable. CSGO should go to Source 2. It's not finished yet, obviously. I'm gonna hedge my bets as a no from Riot. Yes, that's what I'm gonna say. It'd probably be a no from Riot. I'm actually a bit surprised that Riot told Fortress to go jump and give it back to LPL. But yeah, Riot doesn't even care much for Katowice, their preseason LoL tournament. To be fair, when you got a league tournament that runs in a profit, you gotta be pretty happy with that. But anyways, I gotta get prepared for code names, guys. Overall, like this will be on the YouTube vid as well. My thoughts. What else? I think I mentioned other times as well what I discussed. But like overall, like that's why like a lot of casters have been covering games in ESA Premier. We don't get paid for it. There's other opportunities out there now. Like there's LPL. It's not just like essentially trying to cast on the ESL ANZ channel. Like that. To be fair though, with the ESL ANZ channel, it's pretty much filled already. Like you got Pilsky, Elvish Guy, Mac, and you can have any fourth person in there, like Kara, for example, as well. And pretty much that's your desk. Like the most likely person is going to be at the fourth on that desk. If any of them leave, is Komodo. Okay, like he's most likely going to be the fourth because he's been there before. He won the competition. I don't think I even got an entry into that competition. To be honest, I entered at the last minute because I thought I had an extra week. And yeah, like I feel that that's very, very good. Like people to go with. Like Komodo is a good caster. Komodo has good tech and production skills as well. So not exactly. You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to know who's probably going to get that. The call up. Now, will Conky get it? Conky could potentially get it too. That's, by the way, that's procured by me, not by chat. But there's a lot of casters out there that are veterans of the scene that potentially could get in. What else? So I did more opportunities. Talked about money as well. The delay. The delay is another one as well. I know. Should I reveal? I know a lot of casters have complained about the delay. Okay. I've complained about the delay. I just feel like it's not good. At the end of the day, I feel like it's part of the job as well that you won't have chat to talk to in the future. Like you won't talk to chat when you're going into the pro area. But at the same time, I can understand when you want to just cast a game of, one game, we want to talk to your chat. That's probably one thing you want to do. Like, Davey, for example. Like Davey, he's not exactly the caster type that can hype every moment up, but he's got great analysis. He can talk about it with his chat. And also, Davey's very, very social as well. So I can understand like where the delay hurts people. It hurts casters, okay? 100% understand. I'm just like, yep, agree. Have a great evening have a great morning, Benny Cage, man. And Sequest dude, make sure you contact Jackson, okay? We definitely need some more AU casters, 100%. I always tell every single caster, or any single person that thinks they can do a better job at me casting is go apply on the ESA website, okay? We need more casters. If you think you can do a better job, have a better dedication than I do at casting, please apply, okay? Please apply. We need more good casters and guys who are dedicated to their craft. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today for Chilltime with Jose. You can subscribe to it on YouTube, share the video around, like the video, or even just come to stream and watch it live as well, okay? That's pretty much it. All right. So yeah, see you guys later for now. So Chris, I'll talk to you a bit after this, okay? See you guys.